What if the birth of one of the greatest empires in history began? Not in marble palaces, not in mighty armies, but in the wilderness, with two abandoned infants, a wolf, and a legend that still whispers through the ruins of Rome today. Long before Rome was the eternal city, long before Caesars and legions marched across Europe, there was only wilderness, tribes, and scattered settlements along the banks of the river Tiber. It was a world of survival, where power was fragile and destiny was uncertain. And in this fragile beginning, a story emerged, part myth, part memory, part prophecy, that would define an empire for centuries to come. This is the story of Romulus and Remus, according to the legend. The twins were born of a forbidden union. Their mother, Rhea Silvia, a Vestal virgin, was said to have been impregnated by the god Mars himself. But in a world of politics and jealousy, the divine origin mattered little. The local king feared the prophecy that these children might one day overthrow him. So, like many tyrants in history, he ordered the infants to be cast aside, abandoned to die. Yet fate had other plans. The basket carrying the twins drifted along the Tiber until it rested beneath a fig tree at the base of the Palatine Hill, the very ground where Rome would one day rise. And there, the impossible happened. A she-wolf, instead of devouring the helpless infants, chose to nurture them. She suckled them as her own, watched over them, protected them. Later, a shepherd named Faustulus discovered the boys and raised them to manhood. Here's where history meets mystery. Archaeologists have debated for centuries, was the she-wolf a literal wolf, or was it symbolic? Some suggest the wolf was a metaphor for a local tribe whose name in ancient dialect carried the same word as lupa. Others propose that the wolf represents raw survival, the idea that Rome was born from wilderness, forged in hardship. But here's a little-known detail. The famous statue of the she-wolf in Rome, Lupa Capitolina, which tourists see today, is not purely ancient Roman. Radiocarbon dating shows the wolf figure itself might be medieval, later fused with truly ancient bronze twins. This raises a profound question. Did the Romans themselves reshape their own myth across time, retelling it in ways that fit their destiny? And that, in itself, is a powerful parable. Legends are not static. They evolve, just like civilizations. Romulus and Remus grew strong. They became leaders among shepherds, defying tyrants, rallying the oppressed. But as they dreamed of building a city, conflict arose. Where should the city stand? Which brother would lead? Romulus favored the Palatine Hill, Remus the Aventine. They turned to augury, the reading of omens through birds in the sky. But even the heavens could not prevent what was to come. In a tragic twist, Remus mocked his brother by leaping over the walls Romulus had begun to build. Enraged, Romulus struck him down. Fratricide, the founding of Rome, was written not only in triumph, but in blood. And yet, Romulus named a city after himself, Roma. From that violent beginning, the seed of empire was planted. Romulus became the first king of Rome, but his rule was not of marble palaces or golden crowns. He faced a challenge: how to fill a new city with people. His solution was radical. Rome would welcome everyone: outcasts, fugitives, exiles. Rome began not as an exclusive society, but as a refuge. This idea, hidden in myth, may explain why Rome expanded so rapidly. It absorbed outsiders, made them Roman, and built strength through diversity. Romulus also devised Rome's first military and political institutions. He organized the legions, divided the people into tribes, and laid down rituals of kingship. The boy, raised by a wolf, became a lawgiver, but Romulus's end was as mysterious as his beginning. One account claims he disappeared in a storm, taken up to the heavens, and worshipped thereafter as the god Quirinus. Another, whispered in shadows, suggests he was torn apart by his own senators, fearful of his growing power. Which is true? No one can say. Perhaps Rome wanted their founder to be more than mortal, a legend, a god, a timeless spirit. This is the paradox of history. Sometimes the line between truth and myth blurs so deeply. What remains is not fact alone, but meaning. So, what does this story of wolves and warriors mean for us today? The tale of Romulus is not just about a city. It's about the human condition. We are all, in some way, like those abandoned infants, cast into a world that often seems indifferent, sometimes even hostile. But like Rome's founders, survival often comes from unexpected places. Sometimes it's the wolves, the hardships, the struggles, the storms that end up raising us, shaping us, preparing us for greatness. Rome was not born in comfort. It was born in adversity. And that is why the Romans believed their empire was eternal, because it carried within its DNA the resilience to rise from nothing. Here are details that most people never hear. The fig tree at the Palatine Hill, where the twins washed ashore, was preserved for centuries as a sacred relic. Romans replanted it again whenever it withered, as if keeping the myth alive kept their empire alive. The earliest Roman coins often bore the image of the she-wolf and twins, reminding every citizen that Rome's story was rooted not in conquest alone, but in survival against the odds. Archaeological digs under the Palatine Hill have revealed ancient huts dating to the 8th century BCE, Perhaps the very time when the legend of Romulus might have intersected with real settlers. Myth and archaeology converge. When we peel back the layers of this legend, we see why the Romans cherished it. Romulus' story wasn't meant to be just literal history. It was meant to teach that greatness can emerge from abandonment, that unity is forged even through conflict, that adversity is not the end of the story, but the beginning. And maybe that's why, even today, we still remember Romulus, not because we know every detail is true, but because we know its meaning still speaks to us. So the next time you hear the name Rome, don't think first of emperors and marble. Think of two infants, a river, a wolf, and a choice: to survive, to fight, to build. Because the Roman Empire began not with certainty, but with struggle. And from struggle came strength. And maybe, just maybe, your own struggles are the wolves that will raise you, shaping you into the person you are meant to become. If this story moved you, join me as we continue to uncover the untold legends of Rome. Hit that subscribe button. Share this journey with a friend. And together, let's unveil the empires of the past to inspire the future.